Today is the perfect day to get into this video topic. What the hell are the New York Jets going to do with the number 10 overall pick in the first round? Based on a lot of fact finding and Inspector Clouseau and Inspector Go Go Gadget, I feel like I've cracked the formula on where the New York Jets are going to go, inevitably, in the NFL draft in the first round. Let's roll. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh Darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh Darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
What's frickin' poppin', everybody? Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show live every friggin' day at 7:30 in the morning. Also available in the audio-only version if you prefer, wherever you find your podcast. So this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while, but thankfully some more details have come in that have made it so. What are the Jets going to do with the 10th overall pick? This is a topic we're going to discuss for months as we lead into the 2024 NFL draft. And I think there are two options for the New York Jets with this selection. I will tell you the first one that I believe in my heart of hearts is inevitably going to happen. And I think it's going to piss a lot of people off. I believe the New York Jets with the 10th overall pick, if he's on the board, will select Brock Bowers, tight end, out of Georgia. Here's why. Joe Douglas took a lot of heat last year for taking Will McDonald with the 15th overall pick. Fans, media told him, hey, man, you should probably pick something that fits better with the needs of the team, something that could be an impact thing right away. Wide receiver, offensive line, a lot of things were thrown out that could potentially happen for the New York Jets. He said, Will McDonald. Then in the post-season press conference, okay, he was a media member, brought up that same fun fact, said, hey, people told you way back then that you shouldn't take Will McDonald, and instead you took him. And and then you could have taken a wide receiver, could have taken an offensive lineman, the media said to Joe Douglas. And he said, that's fair criticism, but we're always going to take the best player available. Now let me show you some fun facts here. Best player available. The Jets have the 10th overall pick. A player that a lot of people view. I'm not saying Joe Douglas does. I'm not in his Jets draft war room. That'd be a fun thing to do in the future. So, Joe, I appreciate the invite if that happens. But a lot of experts in the business consider Brock Bowers among the best players available. Let's go through the data here. All right. So I'm going to go first. This is Daniel Jeremiah's big board, okay? This is how he ranks the top players in the NFL draft. Looky here. Number 8 is Brock Bowers. This is Daniel Jeremiah, NFL.com, his big board. 8th overall player in this draft. Now, I'm curious, as we're doing this live, I'm pretty sure I checked this earlier, but let's see again. So there's Caleb, number 1. Marvin Harrison, number 2. Rome Odunze, number 3. Drake May, number 4. Jaden Daniels, number 5. Terrion Arnold, the corner out of Alabama, the Malik Neighbors. So, yes, that confirms that Daniel Jeremiah has Brock Bowers ranked on his big board ahead of every offensive lineman in this draft. That, to me, is pretty interesting. Very interesting. A note. Here's just some stuff on Bowers. Undersized tight end, elite speed, strength, playmaking ability, can line up all over the field. Inline, wing, split out, even running back, sudden release, upper body strength, all these wonderful things. His greatest asset is his tackle breaking power. He runs through contact without gearing down. He's an effective run blocker. He will get pressed out, but he reminds me a lot of George Kittle. So again, Daniel Jeremiah, big board. Brock Bowers is 8th overall on his board. And he's above every single offensive lineman in this class. That, to me, I find interesting as we talk about the best player available. Here, let's go to another person. How about this? Mel Kiper Jr., who is the freaking godfather of the NFL draft. Here is his big board that I have right here in front of us. He has Brock Bowers at number 7 overall. Let's go back through his list real quick of where he has everybody. I believe probably Caleb number 1. Yep, Caleb number 1. Marvin Harrison Jr. number 2. Jaden Daniels number 3. Rome Odunze 4. Drake May 5. Malik Neighbors 6. And Brock Bowers also above every single offensive lineman in this class. Here's some words from Mel Kiper. Bowers, an instant difference maker for the Bulldogs. A bunch of his national titles, pass catching numbers. He's not huge. He said his former teammate Darnell Washington's on the Pittsburgh Steelers now, made him look small at times. Matchup nightmare for defense. His great hand-eye coordination, run after the catch, can stretch the field. I love the way he tracks the ball, high points defenders, etc., etc. Big board, Mel Kiper Jr., 7th overall on his big board, and above every offensive lineman on the list. Now let's go to one more just for giggles, and that is Pro Football Focus's big board. Their big board right here has Brock Bowers the highest of anybody, number 5 overall, and here are the other players that are in front. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, once again above every single offensive lineman in this class. Now, just because all these people have Brock Bowers high on their board does not mean Joe Douglas will necessarily have him high on his board. Now, I never got to tweet out this fun fact. It's somewhere in my notes. I took a lot of notes. See, there's a lot of papers here. I just write things on for that could be an interesting thing to tweet out to the universe. Rich Cimini, excuse me. I'm not sure if I wrote that one down, but during a Twitter space we all did together, shout out to the Jets Lounge. In it, he said that with the 15th overall pick last year, the New York Jets were going to select one of these two players, Will McDonald, who they obviously selected, or Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer. Those were the two players the Jets were weighing, according to Rich Cimini, with the 15th overall pick. I ask you this. If the Jets, a year ago, were willing potentially to take Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer, who, by the way, didn't end up going to the second round, early in the second round to the Las Vegas Raiders ultimately, if he was willing to take a player that's not even considered in the same class as Michael Mayer, why wouldn't they a year later do it? I just hear the best player available thing from Joe Douglas. I see every draft expert of note in the universe believes that he's among the best players on the board. The Jets need offense. I've been told Dane Brugler told Ethan Greenberg down at Mobile that it's quote-unquote almost unfair to call Brock Bowers a tight end because he is just this weapon of mass destruction. So I have this intestinal gut feeling, and I've had it for a few weeks, but I wanted to do it on the right show. I think the Jets are taking Brock Bowers. Now, of course, as everyone is lighting up the comments here, right? You need protection for Aaron Rodgers. Now, I think the way to do this, of course, is to handle some business in free agency. Connor Rogers, the clip was released yesterday from the Jets. I ended up tweeting out that he believes ABT is going to tackle. And if he's going to tackle, that means you just need one more offensive tackle to finish the starting lineup. And again, my father is already in the comment section. He's going to hate this, but Tyron Smith or whoever. Now, there's not a lot of great left tackle options out there. Donovan Smith is the Jets guy that, or Chiefs guy who wants to play for the Jets, whoever. But if you get whoever that person is, you kick ABT out to right tackle. Then all of a sudden your board opens up. You're probably not taking a guard with the 10th overall pick. That opens a door for Brock Bowers. Now, how does it work out? People compare to recently highly drafted tight ends, a Kyle Pitts who hasn't been great, whether it's Eric Ebrons or this guy or that guy, the fact of the matter is that there hasn't been this great history with tight ends. And to be honest, in general, there hasn't been, a lot of immediate production from some of these tight ends. Eric Ebron was 10th overall in 2014. TJ Hawkinson, 8th overall, 2019. go way back, but Kellen Winslow Jr., former Jet great, 6th overall in 2004. Vernon Davis, 6th overall in 2006. Kyle Pitts, as we talked about, 4th overall. So there's been a lot of names, but there's been varying levels of success for some of these tight ends. But you have to imagine that while there is a lack of history with tight ends having immediate success or having some level of a transition period as it pertains to collegiate to the professional level, the thing that would help, and not all of those tight ends had, was a Pro Football Hall of Famer throwing them the football, and Brock Bowers could, in theory, become a Robin to Garrett Wilson's Batman, or even the third rung in the ladder, where he's this dynamic pass-catching weapon to use. So again, it feels like a gut thing that's going to happen. I'll read through a lot of your comments, and I'll get into Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft, actually, that has him taking an offensive lineman and why that could be the other inevitable choice. All right, let's go through some of your comments here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, John Sauer. Jared B., all our Boy Green Super Fan Club members, thanks for the support on the channel. We appreciate you. You help keep the lights on, baby. Oh boy, yeah, John, not a fan. Some of these people are not fans of this Brock Bowers conversation. I can see that. I understand. I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you what I hear, what I'm thinking, the notes I'm gathering. My father, Jets on Facebook. Jets do not have the luxury of taking the best player available. They need to take the best offensive lineman or wide receiver available or trade down. Tight end is not an immediate need. That it is not. No, they have Tyler Conklin, who I like a lot. He's been on my show several times. Jeremy Ruckert is okay. I think fans overrate him, but he's fine. But they don't have a difference maker. I think both of them are solid guys. Well, like Tyler's obviously a solid guy. And then Ruckert's like, upside. We'll see what he can do. We can see what he can do. You could argue that they don't have the luxury of doing that, but they did it last year. Will they learn? I don't know. Joe Douglas is losing people in his ranks. Chad Alexander. Some of these other guys. Rex Hogan. It's interesting. Dakota brings up some of the tight ends. Tony Gonzalez. Antonio Gates. I'll throw a few others. Travis Kelce. Mark Andrews. Those could be big-time difference makers at the tight end position. My father once again on Facebook. If they do, if the Jets do, they will end up like the Lions back in the day, taking wide receivers as the first pick 30 year in a row and continuing to spiral. That time for him is when they set the NFL record with 0-16. Hey, got a Matt Stafford, so that worked out pretty well. Gronk is another one people bring up, although he was a day 2 pick, but I still understand. Gator's birthday. Happy birthday, Gator, wherever you are. Okay. Oh, a fake birthday. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. All right. People are talking about trading down, things of that nature. Hey, here's what you should hope for if you're a Jets person, okay? And you hate everything that's coming out of my mouth. Hope Brock Bowers is off the board. That would help you twofold. First off, the Jets can't take him. It's impossible if he's not on the board. And number two, if he's off the board, that means somebody else of note, especially if you don't want to take him, and someone else takes him, that should send, in theory, a player of positional value that you value in some way a little closer to the Jets. So, Johnny says, so what do you think we will do with Kuntz? Zach Kuntz, who they took a dart throw on, 7th-round pick, was a combine warrior. Love the combine that's coming up in a week and a half. Looking forward to some live coverage. We're going to have a very special live guest. I booked that out a week in advance. That is the 28th. What's that? So, yeah, a week from today, we have a big-time guest for the first time ever on the show, live from the Combine. I'm really looking forward to that. So keep an eye out for that one. That'll be next week. Not in the morning. That'll be probably somewhere in the afternoon. TBD on timing. That'll be after Joe Douglas speaks to the media. So I'm looking forward to that. But what do I think we do with Kuntz? I think he's a practice squad guy that develops. He's got a lot of talent, but there's just no path. I don't really see it. Unless the Jets think Kuntz is some sort of Brock Bowers, which obviously they don't, nor does the other 31 teams in the league think so. Because anyone could have signed him off the practice squad at any time, and they didn't. So what do I think of him? Nothing. He's intriguing. I should probably, get him in Madden and have some fun, but in general, I have no take one way or the other on Zach Kuntz, unfortunately. He was not able to crack the lineup, but he's on the 90-man roster, so that's something. All right, let's see. Mark Andrews' weapon. Pitts hasn't had a great quarterback to work with. NY Jets FL on YouTube. That's a very good comment. That's true. That's true. Some of these tight ends have not had a great quarterback play, and obviously with the Jets they would. Mickey Schuler, yeah, the Dustin Kellers. I'm gonna miss some. Chris Baker was an underrated one I really liked. Get your favorite Jets tight end in there. Who's the other one? Oh my God, I'm gonna forget. 87. Oh, what was his name? Oh, that's gonna get me. It's gonna get me. It's a guy we thought was really good. No, I'm gonna have to 87. Why does that number stand out? Jeff Cumberland. Thank you. Thank God. That name just hit me. Yeah, we've had a lot of rando tight ends. Bubba Franks. We've had some guys. We've had a lot of really good guys in history. There's no doubt about it. Dad always on Facebook. He is. That's okay. Leave him alone. That is the stereotype, I guess. Older people are on the Facebook, but I don't care. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You people can be wherever the hell you want, as far as I'm concerned. And shout out to P-Day on Twitter. Appreciate everyone. You're commenting all over the place. That shows the power of the show. The power of the show. All right, so we got through that. Now let's get to this. Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft came out, 2.0. Okay. And this was a bad case scenario for the Jets. Here's why. Okay. So the LA Chargers with the 5th overall pick took Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. Austin Seferian Jenkins, he 100% caught that ball against the New England Patriots. Shadow Realm, you're right. It like bobbled in the middle of his hands, and then it's a fumble. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. ASJ, baby. Anyway, another random tight end story. Back to the draft. So I love mock drafts and consuming them and pounding through them and all things of that nature. But one scenario I haven't factored in frequently or at all is the LA Chargers taking an offensive tackle with the 5th overall pick. I've heard whispers, but I haven't seen it a lot in mocks. Daniel Jeremiah's mock, Joe Alt, 5th overall to the Chargers. Now, I think that could F up the entire scenario. All you people said, ooh, offensive lineman, Jets get an offensive lineman. Here's how the Jets get F'd in the offensive lineman conversation. If Daniel Jeremiah is right and the Chargers go 5th overall Joe Alt, then all of a sudden, who's going to be available at 10, by the time the Jets get around? Because I think it's almost a near lock that the Tennessee Titans with the 7th overall pick take an offensive tackle, whether it's Olu Fashanu or Alt. Okay, hopefully they surprise us on draft day and don't. But you talk about 5th and then 7th, and all of a sudden, if you're the Jets, you have your choice of the 3rd best offensive lineman on the board. Here's where it gets funky. The 2 clear left tackles in this class are Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu. And if you have the 10th overall pick, you want to protect the blind side. That's the more valued position. That is Aaron Rodgers' blind side. The blind side you want to protect, that is the blind side that Dwayne Brown, when he went for the cut block, Leonard Floyd came around and burst the Achilles of Aaron Rodgers. So we want as good of a left tackle there as possible. And from what I've heard from people that love everything, Connor Rogers believes that Olu Fashanu is a day one step-in pass-protecting king right from the get-go. And that to me is compelling. To get perhaps a day one pass blocker. Now, his run blocking may be questionable. Okay, maybe Breece Hall's got to break a few more tackles on his side. But pass protection is numero uno. We need to keep Aaron Rodgers upright. And in this scenario, from Daniel Jeremiah, his mock draft 2.0 had Joe Alt at number 5 and Olu Fashanu number 7. And then the Jets are scrambling at 10. What do you do? And here was what Daniel Jeremiah says the Jets should do with the 10th overall pick. I tried to connect different players to the Jets, but I keep coming back to the same one. Talise Fuaga is a plug-and-play right tackle at 10th overall. Now, here's the thing. We need protection regardless of position. We can't discriminate left tackle, right guard, center. We need offensive linemen. I mean, a lot of them. At a bare minimum, as we've talked about, they need a left tackle and a right tackle. And I think they're keeping Lakin. I think Joe Tippmann's your center, and I'd put AVT at guard, although there is, of course, always the possibility that he can flip to tackle. But Fuaga at 10 feels a little rich based on all these big boards and analysis and things of that nature. But then you're also getting cute if you try to trade back a little and still get your guy. Because what if you trade back and miss out on your guy? Then what are you pivoting to Tyler Guyton, Armarius Mims. Like, where are we flipping? I think that's a big point of contention. What ends up happening in that conversation for the New York Jets with that draft selection? That's where we get a little funky town, potentially, for the New York Jets. Sean Bennett on our YouTube channel. So on Joe Douglas's board, you have what 3 top prospects for the 10th spot? If I had to guess right now on the 3 top prospects for New York Jets general manager Joe Douglas, I would say, in no particular order, Joe Alt out of Notre Dame is on the list. I think he's on the list. Olu Fashanu, probably on the list. And I think Brock Bowers is number 3. That's what I would say. Realistically, like, again, so everyone has a board that's got all the players on it, right? So, like Marvin Harrison Jr., yeah, sure, he's probably in the top 3, but there's probably like a facade top 3. Like, we'll put him there, but he ain't going to be there. But you never know, because like the Sam Darnold draft, the Jets were like, holy crap, Sam Darnold's on the board? We never thought he'd be there in all our mock draft scenarios. So it's probably different players. Like I said, it could be Marvin Harrison Jr., could be Malik Neighbors, could be Roma Dunze, could be some of those top 3 receivers that people think are special. But, like, are those guys dropping to the Jets? So I think he values the offensive lineman, obviously, particularly the 2 left tackles, and Joe Alt and Fashanu, I think for sure. But I think Brock Bowers is higher on the board than people think. Now, we won't know that till draft day, and maybe we will never know that. Who knows? I mean, if he goes early, then we never hear the Brock Bowers story. Or maybe we do because we heard the Michael Mayer story. I don't know, guys. I just have a gut feeling. And I want to share that gut feeling with each and every one of you that I think it's inevitable that somehow the Jets end up with Brock Bowers. Personally, I'd prefer, I love Marvin Harrison Jr. His father played here at Syracuse locally. I would love Marvin Harrison Jr., but that's not going to happen. But that would be amazing. I would love that. Absolutely. But if you can't have, if one of those somehow is available, that'd be a great pick. But then all of a sudden, once you get past that wave of wide receivers and offensive tackles, you're like, what's next? Brock Bowers seems high on the list. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But it feels inevitable to me as I analyze the situation and look at people's big boards and what people are saying, what Joe Douglas is saying, and comparing that info. Joe Douglas is going to speak in a week. We will hear from Joe Douglas in a week live from the NFL Scouting Combine and get all kinds of juicy deets on the Bryce Huff thing and draft prospects and free agency and all this other jazz. And I'm looking forward to breaking all that down. That should be fascinating. But, real quick on William here on our YouTube page, the Jets can trade back to picks 13, 16 and still get Fuaga. I hope so. I hope. Because you want to squeeze the orange. That's what the draft is all about. It's about playing the board. There's got to be hopefully 3 or 4 tackles you like at 10. And you say, we could trade back insert amount of spots. So we could still get one of those tackles. They're all graded similarly. That's what the Jets have to play the game to get extra picks, to add other things. So that's interesting to me. But we will see. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. But my gut right now is I believe that it is Brock Bowers. I also believe if Joe Alt and Fashanu are off the board, I think that Brock Bowers is the pick. Yeah, to Sean Bennett's point, everyone's saying Fuaga, and maybe it's true. Sometimes, you get a leak out the building, it's 1,000% true. Maybe it's a smoke screen. I don't know. But what I do know is that I believe Brock Bowers is going to be, will be a New York Jet. That's what my gut says. But I would prefer, like I said, a Marvin Harrison, of course, but that's probably unrealistic, or Joe Olu Fashanu. Plug in that left tackle, and you have it locked in, hopefully for the next decade plus. Hopefully you can have half the man D'Brickashaw Ferguson was back in 2006. For 10 years of just consistency, missed one snap from a stupid trick play. That's what I want, baby. Probably unrealistic expectations from that standpoint as well, but that's what you got to shoot for. Protection for Aaron Rodgers. Give me protection for Aaron Rodgers, or give me someone that can catch some passes from Aaron Rodgers. One or the other. Either or should be fine. Snowball. Where there's smoke, there's Fuaga. That's a good one. That should be on a t-shirt, honestly. That's pretty good. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for Boy Green Daily today. Make sure you guys tune in. We got another episode tomorrow. A few guests joining us. My father will hop on during the weekend. That should be nice. Got Dom. See, we also have a random WWE note. Elimination Chamber starts at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 4 in the morning, something like that. Good Lord have mercy. We got to figure out a plan for Saturday for Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. for our WWE fans in the audience. More on that later. But everybody, thanks for tuning in. Make sure on the way out you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, guys. Spread the good word, baby. Whether you're watching live or after the fact, it helps spread the good love of the show. Or if you're listening on the audio version, make sure you share your ratings. We appreciate you. Thanks, everybody. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Until then, take care.